Hello students, in this session we will discuss about what can be the best practice of being a citizen. We all know that a man without a state is either a beast or a god. It is not me who is telling this. It is Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, the father of political science, said this. Aristotle said that human beings come to the world with certain basic necessities. Basic necessities are that production and reproduction. They produce food on the field to accumulate foods for themselves or to gather foods for themselves or their family, and they have a cohabitation or conjugal life. They want to multiply their race, but that is not the end of life. Human beings have reason, rationality, the power to think, the power to survive, the intelligence to explore new things to make their life comfortable. So, therefore, Aristotle understood this and said, state is just not existing for production of food grain or reproduction of your race. Rather, the state continues to exist for the sake of good life. Those who live within that state, they develop an attachment, a belongingness, love for that state. Initially, we were not conscious of this feeling. Gradually, we realized in 20th century or even before 2 centuries before that, we realized that this feeling is called nationalism, the love for one's own nation, the love for one's own state. For the sake of the state, you are ready to sacrifice your life. For the sake of the state, you practice morality. For the sake of the state, you walk on the path of ethics. Because you want that your state should be known by fame, name, and goodwill in the world before others. Therefore, we as citizens think that we must do certain things for the state. Citizen, the word has come from city, city state. People who live within that city state, now the name for state given by the Greeks long back, way back in uh, 10th century BC or even prior to that. So the people who are living within such city state were called as citizens. So citizen is not a new word for us. The word was even used by Aristotle. Now, how do one gets this citizenship? How do one feel that he or she is a citizen of a state? Every citizen born in a state is undoubtedly considered as a citizen. But that is not enough. If I am in America on a job, then I deliver a baby, what will be the citizenship of that baby? I am an Indian. I am temporarily placed in United States. There I deliver the baby. Then what will be the citizenship of that baby? So naturally, political philosophers who explored citizenship, they said, no, just being born in a state is not enough. to assign citizenship. One more point is to be added to this, and that is somebody whose parents are born in a state, the person can also be a citizen in that country. That means somebody can be a citizen if born in that soil or in that state, or somebody can be a citizen if his or her parents are born in that state, and there the grandfather or the extended family doesn't come into the picture. So political philosophers named the first one being born in a state as just solely, and the second one as just sanguinis, means your parents are born in a state. So today, since we have globalization, we are moving across our border. Naturally, citizenship has to be determined. That means till somebody becomes a voter, his or her citizenship is not defined. If the child wants to fly, that means you coming by a flight, then in that case, the passport of the child is made, and on such occasions, the citizens of the child is declared. So therefore, since this facility was not there in ancient days, for them there was no confusion. Today, once we make the passport or we desire to cast the vote, at that point of time, the citizenship is defined, identified, and finally, your name is enrolled as a citizen of some country. So, from this discussion, we are quite clear that there is no individual under this world who is not a citizen, because in today's world, state has acquired land, water, and the sky over our head. Now they have declared their ownership on water in terms of nautical miles. They have declared their ownership on the sky in terms of the space of space space. That means, the nations have declared how much area of the sky they can declare their own. So, since you can say the beginning of liberal democratic theory, or since 17th century, we are considering the state as the patron patriarch, or we can say the state as a large family, and like the uh, common families, the state has also ownership over land, water, sky, and land under the ground, land and water and minerals and natural resources under the ground also. So that is how the jurisdiction of a state is declared, and other countries in the world, they also recognize the jurisdiction of a particular state. So therefore, no individual is born beyond a state. So that means no individual exists today under the world without being a citizen. So the sentence told by Aristotle way back in 4th century BC holds true even today, that a man without a state is either a beast or a god. Now, if Aristotle will come to the world today, he will say a man without a state is a god, because even the beast also belongs to the state. That means the wildlife and the animal and birds kingdom also belong to the state. The forest belong to the state. So if we tell like this, then if Aristotle would like to consider this, we'll say a man without a state is a god, because beast is also counted. We are counting, we are doing the census of the tigers, we are doing the census of the elephants, we are also conducting the census of all those wild animals and birds. So that means we all are citizens. We stay in a state. Then in that state, what type of rights we are having? Now remember, students, rights only cannot make us humans, because my right is your duty. If uh, I want to occupy a land, then your duty, and if I have legal right over that land, then your duty is to recognize it as the land, the piece of land, as my land, because we both obey the law. And as per the law, I have the record of right over the land. So my freedom is limited by your freedom. Live and let live. We must enjoy freedom together. So that means freedom sanctioned by law is actually liberty. There we can enjoy maximum freedom. So therefore, every citizen has some rights and duties. Political philosophers have identified some rights as fundamental human rights. They are like right to life, right to liberty, right to property, personal property, and right to pursuit of happiness. Every human being must live, must have freedom of expression, must have a little amount of property required to lead the life, and must have the right to be happy. So that means we need to respect each other's fundamental right. We must allow the other person, say for example my neighbor, to enjoy the fundamental right, because we both can live with happiness. Since the world time and again violated the human rights of certain individuals, therefore, in 1948, nations came together and finalized on 10th December a list of rights and called it as Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR. It has 30 articles. In the that is how every year we we celebrate Human Rights Day across the world on 10th December, because on that very day the nations came together, signed the draft declaration, and made it a convention, the international commitment, that is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now, as per this Universal Declaration of Human Rights, right to life is just not to live. Right to life is having an expanded version. Right to livelihood, right to shelter, right to marriage, and right to privacy. Similarly, if I want to enjoy free liberty, then I must have the informations. The information will make me powerful and will empower me to express myself. So therefore, right to information is part of right to liberty. So when we understand or analyze these fundamental rights, we need to think deeply over it, just not superficially or by letter. We must understand these rights by their very spirit so that the world becomes a livable place to live happily. All can live happily. Now, what are the, if we have, these are the fundamental rights, and also we have certain legal rights, like if we have entered into some contract, then we must obey the words of that contract. Then this is a civil right, this is a legal right. So, naturally, what are the fundamental duties of a citizen? We must abide by the constitution of our nation, that is the supreme law of the land, according to which other laws are made. Therefore, in every country, the judiciary has been empowered to declare a law made by the legislature as unconstitutional and void. To show respect to the national anthem and national flag, that is also our duty. No one is watching us, but when we hear the national anthem coming from somewhere, it comes to our ear, then we must stand up and show respect to that. And also we show respect to a piece of cloth or a piece of paper which looks like our national flag. We must provide opportunities for education to our children, because education is a right for everybody. We may not be having the resources to provide higher education, but we must provide elementary and school education to the child. We must protect the sovereignty of our nation, and we must protect and preserve the national property, and we must work for being together, the integrity of the country. Today, since the climate change is a problem and the environment is a challenge to us, so as a citizen, it is our duty to preserve the natural environment. And also, since we are developing, we are becoming more and more civilized, we are having more and more scientific developments, we must develop the scientific temper and humanity. What is scientific temper? That means we must question why it has happened, why. We must develop the habit of questioning and trying to know the things in a very, very scientific way. Even if I do not know anyone, the whole humanity or mankind is my brothers and sisters. Having such type of feeling is being a good citizen. So if we consider all these things, you can make out that if we become, if we want to become good citizens, then we must avoid any extremist activity or radicalism, because such type of activity harm other people. Therefore, it is highly essential that we must avoid radicalism and extremism. We have every right to question. We have every right to question the state. We must question the state in a constitutional way, not in a violent way. Also, if we are a civilized nation, we must show respect to women. We must help other citizens, render national services when required. Suppose there is war, I can think in that I can volunteer myself to serve the war victims or those who have been injured during a war. We, today is a multicultural world. Every nation is having all types of people belonging to different cultures and religions. So I must develop the attitude to work for the composite culture of the country. We must strive for excellence in all spheres of life. That means, as a human, I must think if I am doing a work in a better way or in the best way, then that is the greatest contribution to the nation. No, philosophers have said that there is one best way of doing a work. Then I must explore what is the best way so that I can reach at the peak point, that is the point of excellence. A state can prosper, democracy can flourish, and people can have well being if we pursue the spirit of active citizenship. I must always think, think again and again that I am a citizen. I have some responsibilities to the fellow citizens of my country, to the fellow citizens of other countries also. I must do my work sincerely because that is my service to the nation. Active citizenship implies giving up radicalism, develop rational thought, and discharge the duties of a citizen. The result will be all can enjoy freedom. So, let us say what can be the best practices of citizenship. I will just compile what I have said: having respect for others and their property, knowing your rights and respecting the rights of others, being informed on the issues of the day, learning the facts of our true history, both good and bad, having compassion and empathy for others, taking responsibility for your own actions, helping others to realize their dreams. I have given you some examples in a very pictorial form. You can see people, both men and women, are standing to cast their vote. Why this is a part of active citizenship? Because if we are a democracy, we must participate in choosing our ruler. That means we as citizens that cannot directly rule ourselves because our numbers are more. We are more than 100 crores if we are Indians. Then in that case, you see, what is the major duty of mine? I must cast my vote in a very, very disciplined way, and I must exercise my rationality. Who is a better candidate? Who has the capability to make laws for myself? The second picture, I have seen how the school children are engaged in plantation activities and conserving forest through plantation. See the picture. Here a young girl is showing the path to a blind person. Somebody who is a blind also belongs to this society, and we have the responsibility to help him or her wherever we are required. So helping those who needs help is an essential duty of a citizen. Now, if you are educated, it is your fundamental duty to spread education who are uneducated or having little education. So, see the picture. A young girl from a village. She has gone there in vacations, but she is teaching the young girls and women and men in the village. This is the picture where the soldiers are holding the national flag at the peak point of a nation because they want that the national flag should be held high. And as citizens, they consider it as their mundane duty to show respect to the national flag. This is how you can find out, identify many examples of good citizenship, and you can also be active citizenships. So remember this and try to become good citizens. Thank you. Mhm. Stop, Tamari Vicky.